Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Magazine Mayhem, where I go through old magazines and sometimes read the comics in stupid voices. And today we're going to be talking about this, which is FBX magazine. So this one is kind of a request for a subscriber on the channel called Jim, who always leaves a nice comment on all of my videos, and he's bought some stuff from my VHS store on eBay, and even bought my old camera, so that was really nice of him. I hope you get to film something with that soon, Jim. But one thing that he mentioned to me when I announced that I was doing this series is this magazine, FBX magazine, and he's the only one I've seen who's brought up this magazine or even acknowledged that it exists, because for those who don't know, FBX was a magazine put out by the BBC. So I don't know if you can see there the get the camera in focus, because it's upside down. It says BBC, so this was put out by the BBC. So basically the BBC put out this magazine for boys. It was a boys magazine. I think it stood for boys exclusively, FBX in other words. So yeah, they put this magazine out for boys, and it kind of had a bit of everything. So you can see on the cover there's Pokémon, The Simpsons, some kind of weird rat creature, and dinosaurs, basically anything the boys liked back then in the early 2000s. And this issue is from November 2000, so it's you know, getting on for 24 years old. So yeah, that's a long time ago now, isn't it? You know, but it always feels like it was only yesterday, doesn't it? For those who were there at the time. So yeah, I used to collect this magazine all the time. Sort of, my mother would always come home with this from Tesco, even though I was only about 4 years old, 5 years old when this was going around. But I used to read it a lot. I used to read at a really young age, so I was always looking through magazines like this. And today we're going to look through it again and see what was inside this one. So yeah, looking at the cover, they kind of had a bit of everything. So they had Pokemon, dinosaurs, The Simpsons, some kind of rat creature, just anything that boys liked back then, more or less. And a free alien, apparently, one of those inflatable things, I remember a lot of places used to give out inflatable aliens. They're very cliched looking, aren't they? And yeah, so let's open the magazine and see what's inside. And I think this one has a little bit of a pullout. So yeah, I think this is a big poster for something or other. It looks really big. I'm not sure if the camera will get this in focus, but it seems to be a big dinosaur. Yeah, it's a big dinosaur leering at you. And I don't know if this is in 3D or something, but it definitely looks strange. I don't know if this is meant to be from like Walking with Dinosaurs or something, or Disney's Dinosaur. And on the back there is, this thing is huge, a guy playing football. Yes, I don't know who that is. I'm guessing he's some kind of football star, but I don't know anything about football, so there you go. That was a big poster that came with this magazine, and I have to get it out the way so I can read the damn thing. So this one starts with a comic called FBX. FBX, I don't think anyone remembers him, but yeah, you dirty rat. I think this was the mascot for the magazine. I don't think this was a character that had his own cartoon or anything. I think it was just, they picked out their own mascot they wanted to use and try and make their own comics out of, I guess, to save on those royalties of paying for other franchises to make comics out of. I'm sure there are other comics in here. So yes, as always, let's give the comic a read, shall we? And see what adventures FBX gets up to. Oh good, my special delivery. And it weighs a ton, Fester. When I get my mutant superpowers, I'll blast FBX for good. I'm gonna become Festerine. Later. Let me see. Add the Nitro 9 solution to the hydrosulfate solution. Eh? What's this stupid book on about? Hoo-hoo, this is gonna be fun. Oh no, I feel all funny now. Eek! FBX, prepare to fry. Oh dear, old fat cat's seeing red. How scary. Bzzzt, zap. How dare you turn my powers against me? Oops, looks like you're turning into an even fatter and furrier mutant, Festerine. I really can't think how that happened. Help, help! If Mr. Ed finds about this, he's gonna hit the roof. Cha-ching! Yeah, that definitely felt like you're a sort of classic, sort of generic magazine mascot comic, I think. It actually felt very similar to that Dexter comic, actually, with the formula causing some kind of transformation. So yeah, I guess that was a common plot in these kinds of comics back then. So let's take a look at the contents now, and it looks like there's a lot going on here. A lot of stuff for boys to look at in this month. It looks like they'd list a bunch of stuff for boys to buy back then, like Martians or skateboards, Chicken Run Game, Pussycat, the Triangular Terror, the Beat Razor. So that's the reason I would buy this magazine, actually. It was because it was the only sort of kids magazine that had Robot Wars stuff in it, so no one else ever really did Robot Wars stuff except for the official magazine, so that is why I used to get FBX, because sometimes they'd have a little bit of Robot Wars there. And they got other stuff like Scooby-Doo and the Alien Invaders, which is actually the next Scooby-Doo movie I have to review on VHS review, so we'll see when I get around to that, and lots of other wacky gadgets for kids at the time. So this is, get this, stuff you're gonna go mad for. So this is all the stuff us boys could get our teeth stuck into back then. Sort of, you know, movies, shows, toys, things like that. So let's take a look here. Oh, look at this Harry Potter thing. Here's the face of the lucky lad who's been picked to play the most popular wizard in the world, I think you mean, Harry Potter. So this is when, when Daniel Radcliffe was picked to play Harry Potter. Yes, that had only just happened. There were no Harry Potter movies yet. So yes, this must have been very new and exciting at the time. And look at this boomerang. That looks like a pretty crazy toy. Cyber puppies, lots of novelty electronic pet toys back then. Well, Max Steel, remember him? He was like Action Man's, he was Diet Action Man, more or less. He was the cheap version of Action Man. Who is Max Steel's arch enemy? Devimon, Batman, or Psycho? Why would it be Batman? And Scooby-Doo again, look at that TV. Now that is a good TV, isn't it? That would have been in my bedroom back then. A Scooby giveaway where they were giving away a TV, a Scooby-Doo game for the Game Boy, and Alien Invaders. That would have been a very nice prize pack. Dominic Wood, It's Magic. So he was part of Dick and Dom, wasn't he? I was never a fan of Dick and Dom growing up. I thought they were quite annoying actually when I was a kid. But yeah, apparently he was a magician, so he had a magic book out back then. And look at this weird thing, power dressing. Check out this new series called The Jersey. It follows a group of sports fanatics and a magic jersey, so there's one reason for me not to watch it, because I didn't like sport. But I don't even remember this at all. This couldn't have lasted long on the Disney Channel, because I was never a Disney Channel kid, actually. I know a lot of people were into kind of like the Disney Channel sitcoms and stuff, but I didn't really watch that stuff. You know, I was more Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon kind of thing. And over here we have... Oh, Goosebumps! There's a Goosebumps comic in this, yes! Now, Goosebumps, of course, the horror book series by R.L. Stine, and I used to read these all the time back then. Goosebumps was like one of my favourite book series growing up. Yeah, I used to just collect loads of them. I think that was one of the things that got me into reading, actually, really, was Goosebumps, because they were always completely addictive. The way they started was always with all these cliffhangers and things like that, and these spooky situations, and you just had to keep reading them all the way to the end. So I loved Goosebumps growing up, and I actually collected them all at one point, so I had all the Goosebumps books. And I like the choose your own adventure ones as well, Give Yourself Goosebumps, where it had all those, the nasty endings, you know, where it was stuff like where you could, you know, fall down a pit, or, you know, get impaled or get tickled to death or something, you know, stuff like that. It was great. Goosebumps was great. But there's a comic here called Pumpkin Juice, so I don't know if this was a book. I don't recall this being a Goosebumps book, but let's give it a read, shall we? Check out this old book, Charlie. I think the title is Monster Brews to Bring Out the Best in You. Cool. Look at the recipe on page 6. There's no tongue of bat or eye of newt, just regular stuff. Half an hour later, well, here it is, Pumpkin Juice Supreme. It was your idea, Frank. You drink it first. Not bad. Your turn, Charlie. Glug. Feel any different? Not yet. Let's go for a walk. I'm starving. Me too. Let's get some chocolate. Raw, raw, raw. I'm still hungry. Let's go to my house. Raw eggs. Schnarf. Schnarf. Liver. Frank, Charlie, what do you think you're doing? Mom, get out and don't come back till you've got rid of those silly wigs. Dog food. What's happening to us? We're turning into monsters! No wonder! The title of this book is Monster Brews to Bring Out the Beast in You! These are some weird sounds I have to make. Come on, Charlie! We need pumpkin flesh from the same pumpkin! Worms! Mom, where's the rest of the pumpkin? I cleaned up, like you should have done, and then I baked a pumpkin pie. It's on the windowsill! God, these noises. This is gonna creep people out. I'm stuffed. I'm not hungry anymore. We're cured. We're back to normal. Thanks for the pie. You know that juice you left in the blender? What about it? It was delicious, but boy, am I hungry. The end. Yeah, definitely a short form kind of Goosebumps story, that one. Very typical those, because Goosebumps books would always end with twist endings. So yeah, nothing would ever end well in Goosebumps. It would always seem like it ended well, and then something horrible would happen at the end to all the characters, and it would all have a tragic ending. So yes, that's in style with Goosebumps. So next we have a page on Dinosaur. Yes, I think this is the Disney movie. What hurts your ears, makes you shake in your seat, and is 65 million years old. Dinosaur. So yeah, this was all facts about the Disney's Dinosaur movie, which was just coming out around this time in 2000. So lots of fun facts about dinosaurs and the movie, which was sort of a CGI, live action kind of hybrid kind of thing. I haven't seen it in a good few years, actually, Dinosaur. I remember it just being kind of, it's okay. But, I should probably check it out again at some point. And this was a pretty big movie. I remember it being promoted. I remember they had a big poster of it in my school library, actually. There was a big dinosaur poster. And all the Disney videotapes had these really long trailers. It was like, this is a long trailer of a dinosaur, go and see it now. So, yeah, and it was like 5 minutes long or something, so yeah. Dinosaur got a lot of hype. I guess I can't blame them, because if there's one thing boys love, it's dinosaurs, right? So, there you go. That was Disney's Dinosaur. And you have to love the super cheese jokes, don't you? What do you get if you cross a dinosaur with fireworks? Dynamite. Magazines full of cheesy jokes. In fact, it actually has a review of the movie, and it says it's the movie that's been 65 million years in the making, which I think was the tagline to Jurassic Park, wasn't it? So aren't they just ripping that off? And yeah, the FBX rating is extra special FX and soppy story, because God forbid that boys have any semblance of girliness in their magazine, because boys just like to fight and roll around in mud and stuff. Yeah, that's what boys do. Even though I don't think that's really true. Even at a young age, I did have a concept of sweetness and morals, so there you go. And next we have, oh look, Pokemania. Yes, it wouldn't be a boys magazine without some kind of section on Pokemon. Needed its very own section because it was huge when Pokemon just broke out around this time. Because it arrived in the UK a bit later, actually, sort of 1999, 2000-ish. Kind of Pokemon kicked off, and it just happened all at once over here, more or less. So they had a big section about all this Pokemon stuff. Like Pokemon at the Dome. FBX went to the Millennium Dome for the event of the year, the Pokemon Adventure, where hundreds of gamers battled it out to be the best Pokemon trainer in the universe. So yeah, the Millennium Dome, yeah, who remembers that? That's the O2 now, but back then it was the Millennium Dome, and it was a catastrophic failure of epic proportions. So it became the O2, but apparently Pokemon was there once, so that's pretty cool. And of course the Pokemon merchandise, like trading cards, which I used to collect even though I didn't even know the rules to the game, and various toys, Pokemon Yahtzee, and the weird Pikachu, light kind of thing, and toys, and all this kind of great Pokemon stuff, because Pokemon was huge back then. And this was during the good old days when there were only 151 Pokemon. That's the way it should have stayed, damn it. Because you could actually know how many you had to collect then, because now there's 1 million Pokemon, so, it's long since lost me, but, yeah, Pokemon Classic back then. And here we have a competition involving the Power Rangers. Look at this, Turbo Power, even though this is not Power Rangers Turbo, thankfully. This is Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, which was actually the show that got me into Power Rangers. I used to watch Lightspeed Rescue all the time and collect all the toys. And of course, the big prize was a PlayStation 1 and the Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue video game, which I played many, many times throughout my childhood, and it's just kind of a mediocre beat-em-up kind of thing. But, it was satisfying back then. I mean, when you're that age, it's just Power Rangers game, amazing, must play. So yeah, that was the Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue game, and it looks like you could win a bunch of the toys as well, even though I think those are Lost Galaxy toys. But what was the question? What is the Power Rangers catchphrase? Power Rangers to the rescue, Lightspeed Rescue ahoy, or Power Rangers are go? Gee, I wonder what the answer is. I think it's Rescue ahoy. But from one favourite thing to another, because here we have Robot Wars. So yes, like I said, they did sometimes put Robot Wars stuff in FBX magazine. It was the only other magazine apart from the Robot Wars magazine to have Robot Wars stuff in it, because the BBC put out this magazine and they also put out the Robot Wars magazine, you can see right here, so they put an advert for it. So they basically used a little feature here to advertise the actual Robot Wars magazine, which is advertising issue 7 in the 25th of October 2000, and with Craig Charles on the 4th Wars, so the 4th Wars was the one out just then. It looks like Pussycat was proving popular. Maybe that was when it just beat Razor, I would imagine, in the 4th Wars. There's your Robot Wars trivia for this episode. But of course the big feature was to draw Dead Metal, which was probably way too complicated for me at that age, because it was another one of these things where you draw the shapes and then you have to rub stuff out and draw stuff on top of it. and I could never figure out how to do any of this. But Dead Metal, look how cool he looks. Like a part scorpion, part crab with his giant, devastating circular saw. So one of the best house robots with an attack on Dietor there and Overkill in the Third Wars. So yeah, there's your Robot Wars section. If only they still had a Robot Wars magazine or a BattleBots magazine like this. Those would be fun to go through, wouldn't it? But there we go. So next up we have the Flintstones. Oh look, another Flintstones comic, because the last one was so great, wasn't it? Yeah, that was definitely something last time. But it's kind of strange that the Flintstones are in here actually, because I'm not sure if they were on BBC at the time. Maybe they were. I don't remember it. I mainly remember it being on Cartoon Network, but apparently the BBC at least had the rights to make comics about the Flintstones in this magazine, but maybe it was on TV. Someone might have to tell me, because I don't remember seeing it on TV back then. But let's give it a quick read. Another comic. So Fred waking up and he's sleepwalking. Click. Huh? Uh-oh, he's sleepwalking again. Heading straight for the kitchen, as usual. Oh no, it's a fridge raid, and I'm in big trouble. Next morning. What a good night's sleep. Can't wait for breakfast. Dino, bad boy, you've been stealing from the fridge again. It's no fun when you can't answer back. So yeah, that was definitely a much more simple comic, thankfully, compared to the last one, which was definitely all over the place. But I guess this one was a bit of an advert, because it says at the bottom, don't miss the fantastic Flintstones sticker and activity books in stores now. So I guess that was a promotional thing they had going at the time. And of course, this is important, because there's a whole feature here on Digimon. Reckon you know everything about Digimon? See if we can catch you out. So yes, Digimon must have been just coming out at this time, I think. So they had to explain a lot about Digimon. There's a lot of fun facts here. So this would have been useful for me as a kid, because I didn't really understand what Digimon was, to be honest with you. I just knew that it was a big Japanese thing. It's really popular. It's kind of like Pokemon. It's got Mon in the title, right? So it must be exactly like Pokemon. But, you know, I was more sort of interested in Pokemon, not Digimon. You had to kind of pick what to be interested in back then. You couldn't have everything all at once. In fact, it says actually, in America, Digimon has been called Pokemon with personality. What do you reckon? Well, I don't know. I mean, Pokemon has quite a bit of personality, I think, so I guess that one's up for debate. But some of these monsters look great, don't they? Like, look at this cactus with boxing gloves. That's great. Oh, this thing with drilled nose. That's, yeah, they did put some great work into designing these monsters. They look pretty cool. So, Digimon, it was quite creative looking at it. And here we have, oh look, kick around, so this is all about football. Yeah, I was not into sports, really. Robot fighting is my sport. So I liked Robot Wars, I didn't like football. You know, once you've seen robots smashing and bashing and getting flipped through the air and set on fire, it kind of makes it a bit hard to see people kicking a ball across a bit of grass. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, most kids' magazines did have a section about football, but this might as well be written in some kind of alien language, because I don't know any of these footballers. Like, even this puzzle, I wouldn't be able to figure out who this puzzle is. Like, it says he plays for Middlesbrough, he wears a number 8 on his shirt, and he's a World Cup winner, and I have no idea who he is. So this is another comic, and this is The Big Knights, the Hiccuping Dragon. So The Big Knights, I'm guessing this was a cartoon on CBBC or something, but I do not remember it at all. I never remember watching this. So, yeah, I don't know who these characters were, who made this, but maybe someone else remembers, but apparently they had a comic strip back then. So let's have another read. After a year of hard work, the Barovian farmers harvest their precious crop. Well, we've only managed 10 bales of corn this year, but that should be enough to see us through the winter. Suddenly, a mighty dragon wanders into the field. Keep it away from the bales of corn, it will crush them with its huge feet. By a stroke of luck, the big knights are passing by. Good day, you seem to be having a spot of bother with a dragon. Brave knights, you have come in our hour of need. If you will allow me to explain the problem, that won't be necessary. Unless I'm very much mistaken, this dragon is hungry. We simply feed it these bales of corn, and it will leave without harming you. Well, I suppose we could spare 1 bale. Nonsense, it'll need at least 4. Don't feed it too fast, Boris. Now we have only 6 bales to last us through the winter. And now only 3. Just 1 bale is left. A fire-breathing dragon with hiccups. It's a good job we're here to help. I know a cure for hiccups. You count to 100 backwards while lying on your back and drinking a glass of water. Not that easy when dealing with a very stupid 20-ton dragon. There must be other cures. Well, we could give it a short, sharp shock. Jab. Saints of Barovia! It will land on our last bale of corn! At least we have this one remaining bale to feed us through the winter. Well, that seems to have cured the hiccups. We'll be on our way. Thank you. How can we ever repay you? We don't really need any payment, but if you really insist, we'll accept one bale of corn. So yeah, I guess this cartoon was about these knights causing a hell of a lot of trouble, more than the trouble that was already being created, but yeah, that seems like quite a balmy cartoon. My guess is it didn't last long. And also another little bit of promotion at the bottom, because it says, get the Big Knights Big Adventures on video now, which maybe that's a rare find, because I don't remember this cartoon, so yeah. And on the next page we have video games, bites, that's what they call the video game section. Yeah, so of course it wouldn't be a kids magazine without video games, because I was definitely mad about video games back then, and I guess they used to review them, because they have a rating scale, so they had awesome, great, good, fair, and pants. Pants, yes. Apparently that's what you used to call things that you didn't like. That's pants. I never used to say that. Never ever. But what was new at the time? We had Power Stone 2, which I don't remember. Seems like a bit of a Japanese type game, and it was on the Dreamcast. So yeah, the Sega Dreamcast, which was a pretty cool console. I always wanted one, but I never had one until later in life. And Grind Session, yeah, that was like a Tony Hawk rip-off game, Grind Session. It even says, a bit like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. In fact, that's even one of the levels from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. That's the Burnside course, because I was obsessed with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and skateboarding, so there you go. I used to love skateboarding back then when I was about 11, 12, so I'd always collect the Tony Hawk games, and this was one of their cheap rip-off games. But I think the people who developed this game actually went on to develop some of the ports for the Tony Hawk games. So there's a fun fact for you about the Tony Hawk's franchise. Apparently Grind Session was considered a decent rip-off of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, which is a classic game, of course. And there's a rugby game here, of course, Rugby 2001, which actually says, so you might think rugby is boring or the rules are too complicated, but you probably thought the same about American football. That is, until the John Madden series came out. Who played that over here? I have to be honest, I don't ever recall any kid ever playing the American football games, the Madden games over here. It even says a bit like a British John Madden's. Why is there a comparison? That's so strange. People know more about rugby than they do about American football here. That's so weird. An X-Men Mutant Academy, which looks like sort of a Street Fighter type game with the X-Men. A bit like the Marvel vs. Capcom series. So I guess that's a glowing recommendation, but my guess is this probably wasn't a fondly remembered game compared to some other superhero fighting games, but I probably would have liked playing this over my cousin's house or something. That's the type of game your cousin probably would have had if you went over his house, some sort of superhero fighting game. And there's also a news section about video games, so there was lots of talk about Xbox, Microsoft's new console machine that's in development. We haven't got a pick because it's all top secret at the moment, but Microsoft plan to bring it out next May, and there are already 100 games being made for it. So the Xbox was just a twinkle in your dad's eye back then. Around this time. I think it was 2 years away, actually, the Xbox, by the time this magazine was out. So that's funny that they were all hush-hush about the Xbox, because it was just all rumours back then. Oh, there's dirty, rotten cheats. So yeah, look, there's cheats all up and down this for games like Rogue Squadron for the Nintendo 64, Midtown Madness, Colin McRae Rally, and Crash Bandicoot 2. Look at that, unlimited lives. For unlimited lives, go to the secret level and look for the bouncing box and fruit, then go to the highest step and super jump up for 2 lives, die and repeat. So that was how you could exploit Crash Bandicoot 2 for extra lives, which was a classic game, Crash Bandicoot 2. Used to love that. But there were actually magazines that were dedicated entirely to cheats. I used to buy lots of cheat magazines and stuff like that back then. There was one called Power Station that I'd always get cheats for. I'd always want to get the cheats from that magazine. In the days of the PS1 and the PS2. I know they don't really have cheat codes anymore. They've kind of gone the way of the dodo, so yeah, cheats aren't that big a deal anymore. And there's a couple more reviews for Grand Prix 3 on the PC. Did anyone else think that Grand Prix was pronounced Grand Prix? I did when I was younger. And Turok 3 for the Game Boy, which I guess was a sort of basic port of the Nintendo 64 game, and it says it's a bit like Turok Rage Wars, so I guess it was exactly the same as the game that came before it. And there's also cool websites, so yeah, that newfangled internet thing, you can visit some websites like freezone.com or sportingheroes.net and neopets.com. I do remember Neopets actually, but do any of these sites exist anymore? I think not. And look at this. There's an ad for the Pokemon Trading Card Game League, which if you watch the VHS review of the first Pokemon movie, you'll recall there was an advert for the Trading Card Game League at the end of the tape. So this was a thing at the time where you could join the league and trade your cards with your friends and fight and all that good stuff. And I guess this was an advert to entice you to join, because they promote a big fat Mew card, because Mew was obviously a popular Pokemon, and Mewtwo as well. Those were the rare ones that you had to get at the time, and I was always desperate to get my hands on anything to do with those Pokemon. And here we have a poster, a wrestling poster, I guess, of Triple H. I have no idea what that stands for. Horrific? Horrendous? Harrowing? No idea. But yeah, Triple H was a wrestler, I guess, and I didn't know anything about wrestling back then. I still don't know anything about wrestling now. But yeah, it was really popular with kids back then, so I guess Triple H was the star of this issue. And look at the bod on that. You could do your washing on those abs. Goodness me. And his catchphrase was, "I am the game, and I am that good." So yeah, I guess that was his tagline back then, but I didn't know anything about wrestling, but good God almighty, they had some muscles, didn't they? And there's another advert for the Poké-ROM, and a CD-ROM sort of Pokemon toy, which I guess had all kinds of screensavers and mini games and things like that, because they used to make these CD-ROM things for absolutely everything. You know, Spider-Man, Batman, Star Wars, Simpsons, they all had CD-ROM, kind of interactive activity center kind of things. So of course they had the Poké-ROM. Gotta learn them all. Gotta learn them all, right? So it's educational, I guess, which is probably a red flag if you're 7 years old. I don't want educational games, no. And on the last page we have puzzles, of course. You gotta have puzzles. You can't, I think it's illegal actually to have a magazine for kids that doesn't have puzzles in it. So you have the word search and spot the difference and things like that. With The Simpsons, spot the difference with The Simpsons, featuring a couch gag of some kind with lots of differences that I'm not going to spend an hour looking for like I would have done back then. And they got the movie mix-up, or match the finishing move to the wrestler, which I still wouldn't be able to solve even now. And another cheesy-fying joke. Why did the skeleton cross the road? To get to the body shop! Ho 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 ho! Very funny. And there's also FB Extra, which was drawings and letters, I guess, that kids would send in. And I guess the prize for sending a letter and getting it published was a Simpsons clock that says, "Don't!" So that would have been nice back then. And there's a letter that says, "Family Trouble, Dear FBX. My dad always reads my FBX mag as soon as it comes through the letterbox, and I have to wait until he's finished it. Do any other readers have the same problem? He's over 40 years old, and he thinks it's really cool. Ed says, editor, only one thing for it, David. You'll have to get up earlier and wait for the postman. What do other readers reckon?" So apparently they're popular with adults as well, FBX magazine. And some drawings of Bart Simpson and the FBX team and Digimon, and a creepy looking creature here which kind of looks like some sort of nightmare cross between Pokemon and Aardman animation, so there you go. And of course an advert for the next issue where, see, Robot Wars, look at Robot Wars here, Razor's there. It's bigger than Geodude, look at that. Robot Wars was way more in the zeitgeist than people remember, I think. People forget how popular Robot Wars was because Razor's bigger than a Pokemon, look at that. That's crazy. You'd never ever see that now. That's mental. But yes, they would have a Pokemon movie special, so a movie was coming out, I guess. Robot Wars contestant bots, WWF games, comic strips, and Pokemon stickers, so lots of stickers in the next issue. And finally, on the back, there is an ad for Roller Coaster Tycoon, which I guess is a PC game. I know that's a great way to advertise your PC games. Kids have two middle-aged women on the poster. Seems like a mismatch to me. Surely it should be a kid with like a backwards baseball cap and a skateboard over his shoulder or something like that for Roller Coaster Tycoon. And what are they saying? People today, I spent years researching the UK's best theme parks, built the world's scariest rides, kept the park spotless, and I'm still not making any money. By the way, does my bum look big in this? What? Your bum's not the problem, dear. It's your hot dogs. You need to lower your prices and give them more sauce. That would not be allowed in a kids' magazine now. But yes, that is it for this issue of FBX magazine and this edition of Magazine Mayhem. So yeah, that was a fun one to look through. It's nice to see a lot of different stuff, I think. So you kind of got a bit of everything, like I said. So Pokemon, dinosaurs, The Simpsons, skateboarding games, cheats, comics, lots of comics, even Goosebumps. So yeah, this magazine was pretty cool, and it's a shame that more people don't remember it, because I was a fan of this back then, way back in the early 2000s, when I was just a little 4 or 5 year old baby boy. So yeah, that's it for this episode, and don't forget, if you have a magazine from your own childhood that you'd like me to uncover, then let me know in the comments and I'll try and find it somewhere, because this was a request for Jim, and I hope he likes it, because I owe him one, I think, given all the comments he's left on the videos and stuff. But yeah, that's it for this edition of Magazine Mayhem, and don't forget that you can support the channel on Patreon, and you can get early access to all new videos a week before they arrive on YouTube, and get a thank you in the credits. So if you want your name in lights, support the channel on Patreon, and I shall see you in the next video. So, take care. But wait, there's more! Okay, this is a very unscripted announcement, because I'm here to reveal that Back to the Past is now available on Patreon. You see, YouTube isn't exactly friendly to me for making videos about all this copyrighted content, so it makes monetizing the channel kind of impossible, but for just £2 a month, you can support the channel on Patreon. You'll get access to every new video a week early, your name at the end of every episode, and you can even take part in exclusive Patreon votes where you decide what the next VHS review will be. It's not an obligation, but if you want to support the channel, you can. I'd really appreciate it, because it means I won't ever have to talk about Raid Shadow Legends in any of these videos. Have a nice day and check out the Patreon.